5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
It's Holy Week, but what does Holy Week mean? What happens in our churches during Holy Week? And what does it matter? That's what we're going to be talking about today on Ignition. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Bergwald, and we want to set your faith ablaze so that you might live the adventure that comes from a relationship with Jesus Christ. Before we get into the topic of Holy Week, we want you to know, as always, that we love listener feedback. So if you've got questions about today's episode, or if you have ideas for future episodes, please contact us. The easiest way to do so is by email, and the address is ignition@sfcatholic.org. Again, ignition@sfcatholic.org. I am joined once more in studio for a second time, I guess, by Robyn Bruggeman. Hey, Robyn.
Hi.
So, Robyn, actually, just in case, because you've only been on the show once before, you want to just briefly introduce yourself?
Yep, I'm Robyn Bruggeman. I am married to Spike. We have 7 kiddos. Our youngest is 8. Our oldest is almost 25 almost. And we have a grandbaby. I have a son-in-law, a daughter-in-law to be, and another son-in-law to be. And we farm on the South Dakota-Iowa border. And I am a happily converted person to the Catholic faith.
Happily converted. They're excellent. Now, Robyn, last time you were on, my dad called me.
Oh, what did he say?
Yes, my dad said, "What does Robyn do?" I mean, I heard what her husband does, but what does Robyn do? And you said we farm. So if you want to,
I should maybe clarify that.
I don't know.
Farms. I help.
Maybe for the Tom Bergwalds and others who are like, well, she just talked. You just talked about her husband. What does she do?
To Tom Bergwald, what does Robyn do? What do I do, Chris? I don't know. Well, I homeschool. We have 2 kiddos at home that we homeschool, and I run around after the middles.
Yes.
We've been without a driver for a while because all of my bigs moved out, and I don't have a driver currently, a teenage one, so I've been doing a lot of running. I do some different things here with you, sometimes behind the scenes and sometimes not so much behind the scenes. And I'm a farm wife, I guess. So I do things that farm wives do.
You do
like
exactly.
make meals and
right. And my dad should know what that entails. So I think that covers the bases.
I'm not really sure what I do, but somehow I'm busy all day and all night long.
Right. Sometime in the future we can talk about that because Blaise Pascal would have something to say about that.
Okay, let's talk in the future. Next time.
Next time. So this is sort of fitting that you're on here as we're, depending on when folks are listening to this, about to begin or just the beginning of Holy Week, because last time, your first appearance on Ignition was right before Lent started.
Oh, that's right.
So how was your Lent, Robyn?
It's going okay.
Well, no. You see, this is the mystery. See, shh, don't tell them that we're recording early.
Oh, okay.
You let the cat out of the bag. I thought this was live. How wasn't your Lent amazing? Did you become so holy?
So fruitful.
Right. So we are recording a couple weeks early. And your Lent's going well.
Yes.
And now we're looking. You and I are looking a little bit ahead here, but we've lived through Holy Week before, so we just thought that it would be good to talk. And Holy Week has been a topic of conversation on Ignition many times over the years. But so we're going to give a quick overview of the week and the different liturgies that go on. But then definitely in terms of your interest and your passion of what does it look like to bring the beauty of, in this case, Holy Week into the home, into the family, and different ways that the Bruggemans have lived that out. But also maybe a little bit with what it means to Robyn herself.
Sure.
Okay. So, of course, we start off with Palm Sunday or Passion Sunday, in which we have the long Robyn reading of the Passion. And that one changes depending on the year we're in. So this year, the primary gospel that we hear from in 2022 is Luke. Okay. So we hear Luke's account of Jesus' Passion. So all the way from his betrayal in the garden through his death, not to the resurrection yet. That's for next Sunday.
We're going to save that.
So, and then we have Monday of Holy Week and Tuesday of Holy Week, which as far as I know, I don't think they have any nicknames, but Wednesday of Holy Week.
Spy Wednesday.
So I knew you would let me down. I knew you would know. Why? So again, there's nothing particularly different about the masses of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Standard sort of Lenten daily masses. There are some things in our churches, maybe statuaries covered and so on. That's a thing. Passion Tide the last 2 weeks of Lent. But why is Wednesday of Holy Week called Spy Wednesday, Robyn?
It is named after Judas, the betrayer.
Right.
Just kind of had that spyness to him, didn't he?
Spyness.
Spyness. Is that a word? I just made that word.
It is now.
I made that up. So to us, that's the day where we reflect. So if you're, doing the daily readings or you're attending Mass, that's what you're getting in Scripture. And that's the day, we read about Judas betraying our Lord. And for myself and for our family, then we take that as a day to reflect on. When you hear...
Okay, stop. We're going to save that. We're going to come back. We're going to come back. I want to. We're gonna do the quick overview.
Okay,
and we'll come back.
Yeah.
So it's from Matthew 26 verses 14 and following. One of the 12. This is the gospel reading for Mass that day. One of the 12, who was called Judas Iscariot, went to the chief priests and said, "What are you willing to give me if I hand him over to you?" They paid him 30 pieces of silver, and from that time on, he looked for an opportunity to hand him over. And then it moves right into the Feast of Unleavened Bread and the Last Supper, the preparation for the Passover, the Last Supper, and the betrayal. We'll come back to what you guys do. Then Holy Thursday is where things get really, really serious. There's not in our diocese, but some dioceses, this is the day where the Chrism Mass is celebrated. Our diocese is a couple of weeks earlier because of, frankly, how geographically large we are. Right. Chrism Mass is a beautiful Mass where it's celebrating the institution of the priesthood. So you have the priests and deacons come together, and it's oftentimes open to the public, but come together with the bishop, typically in the cathedral. That's how it is here in our diocese. So all the priests and deacons, so all the clergy together with Bishop de Grood, and the priests renew their priesthood. It's a beautiful Mass, the institution of the priesthood. Again, celebrated in our case a couple weeks before, I think March 31st this year for us. It was celebrated as you're listening to this. You can, I think, Bill, will that be on YouTube? So, folks, as you're listening to this, you can go back and watch that Mass, but look for it again next year to maybe attend if you're free during the day. So that is the only daytime Mass in any parish anywhere. Daytime.
Wow.
There's no daily Mass. There's two Masses on Holy Thursday. The Chrism Mass, typically late morning or midday, and then the evening Mass of the Lord's Supper. But before we get to that, of course, we have Sundown, which marks technically the end of Lent and the beginning of the Triduum. So my kids and young people ask, so Lent's over. So does that mean I can have like the sugar, the snacks? No.
Not
We're
yet.
still in a time of penance through the Easter Vigil. But the Triduum, the sacred Triduum, the holy 3 days, Triduum, 3 days, Latin word. So it begins Holy Thursday night, and it's a Jewish reckoning of days. So sundown to sundown is a day in the Jewish ritual calendar. So Holy Thursday to evening till Good Friday evening, day 1. Good Friday evening, Holy Saturday evening, day 2. Holy Saturday evening to Easter Sunday evening, day 3. People get like, what are the days? Is it Good Friday and Holy Saturday?
Yeah.
Nope, it's actually...
I didn't know the sundown to sundown.
Yep, sundown to sundown.
That's very fascinating.
Yep. But so we have that night, we have the Mass of the Lord's Supper, where you have the washing of the feet and the institution of the Eucharist are celebrated. And then we'll maybe get details. Good Friday, of course, the liturgy, not the Mass, the liturgy of the Lord's Passion with John's Gospel reading. Many parishes that night will do a Tenebrae service, another reading of the Passion, maybe certainly a Stations of the Cross, maybe, but the one liturgy that is typical or required, if you will, is the Passion, the liturgy of the Lord's Passion. Holy Saturday, nothing during the day. But you've got the big one that night, the Easter Vigil. People coming into the church, the liturgy of light, the candles, the fire, the overview of salvation history, all the readings from the Old Testament, and then the gospel of the resurrection. And then, of course, Easter Sunday morning. And some people will go to both the Vigil and Sunday morning. You don't have to go to both. You can do one or the other. They both count. But then we have, again, the account of the resurrection. That's Holy Week. Just before we get into kind of what you guys do, just any observations for you, maybe personally, on your experience, especially as an adult convert of Holy Week?
It's so rich in the tradition, rich in senses.
Yeah.
All of most of your senses are just, and I think all masses are like kind of like are supposed to kind of do that a little bit, right?
Right.
Like with your sight, smell,
Yep.
What you hear. But I really feel like there's this extra heightened sense of what's going on. It's so beautiful, so beautiful.
Did you come to the church at Easter Vigil when you came into the church?
I did.
You did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you had you guys, because you were married, had you been participating at all in the Holy? Did you guys, before you came into the church, go to the Holy Week services, all the different masses or liturgies, or was that later?
Yeah, no, I would say in like a little bit in our dating years, and then throughout our married life. Like even though I wasn't Catholic, we each practiced our own and each other's. If that makes any sense.
Okay.
We went with each other all the time.
Yep.
So I did have that experience.
So
before converting,
the Mass of the Lord's Supper where fathers washing people's feet was not brand new to you the year you came into the church.
New.
Okay.
No.
By the way, it's my contention that that the washing of the feet that happens there is the how do I describe this? People come with their feet completely clean already because
that's really funny.
Understandably, I don't think they want to like gross father out or something.
Right.
But
That's funny.
I've once, maybe twice, have I been asked to allow my foot to be washed by the priest? I've accepted. Yep.
Okay.
But I made sure it was darn clean before I went. New socks. I put on right before I went to church.
Get the fleushies out. Between your toes.
Right. Exactly. Maybe a little deodorizer in the shoes.
That is really funny. That I bet everybody does that.
Yeah.
But the symbolism is so amazing.
It is
so amazing. And yeah, if a person lets themselves be fully present and fully enter in, always, anytime you're at Mass, but starting with Palm Sunday, and you just let yourself just be there. I feel like you can attend, starting with Palm Sunday, and go all through Holy Week, attending as much or as little as possible at church, which we should, when possible. It's always great to be doing that with our brothers and sisters in Christ. But I feel like the gospel just really comes to life because when the palm branches are being waved or whatever, and those readings are going on, you can really kind of picture yourself there watching Jesus enter into Jerusalem. And then with the feet washing, of course, all of those things, I feel like you just have kind of this front row seat. And if you will let yourself enter in, it's just such a beautiful opportunity that the church gives us.
Amen.
Yeah.
And one little detail that I love specifically about the Triduum, and then we'll kind of get into what this means for your family, how you guys bring what is happening in your parish into your home. But the Triduum, one really cool thing. So I don't think you and I have talked about this, but you probably already know. So Holy Thursday, Mass of the Lord's Supper, Holy Thursday night. At the very end, you know where I'm going with this.
I was hoping you'd bring it up.
So what are you thinking I'm going to talk about?
I'm assuming you're talking about the stripping of the altar.
The stripping of the altar.
And entering into the garden.
Right. That all happen. So, but which happens right after Mass is over, but that's actually the interesting thing. Mass does not end the way that it typically does on Holy Thursday. There is no dismissal by the priest or deacon at the end of the Mass is ended, go in peace, or anything like that, because the liturgies of the Triduum, the Mass of the Lord's Supper, the Good Friday liturgy of the Lord's Passion, and the Easter Vigil, and then into Easter Sunday, sort of they all form one huge, monstrous liturgy. There's no typical formal conclusion to the Mass of the Lord's Supper. And then Good Friday, when you go to church, you come in, the priest and the server, the bishop, the deacons, they enter in silence, and the presider, the bishop or the priest, goes straight to his chair and start with the opening prayer or collect of that particular liturgy. There's not the typical greeting.
Right. Interesting.
With The Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, Lord be with you, et cetera, et cetera. And at the end of the Good Friday liturgy, there's not the typical conclusion there either.
Right.
Everyone departs in silence is what the instructions for the Mass tell us. Now, the Vigil, I think, does begin, I think, with a sort of greeting. So that's, but you get that fascinating thing where there's no end on Holy Thursday, no beginning, end on Good Friday. It doesn't until you get to the Vigil, so the Easter Masses, the Vigil and Sunday Mass, do actually get those typical beginning and conclusion.
That is so cool.
It is cool.
Like, I mean, now that you say it, I'm like, oh, of course, yeah. You know what it makes me think of, like shows or movies that just kind of leave you hanging, and you just want to come back for more.
I know, exactly. Cliffhanger.
Yes.
Stay tuned for the next exciting episode of The Sacred
Yeah.
Triduum.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
Right.
Yeah.
So next I want to talk about how you guys bring this into the home. But if you're just tuning in, welcome to Ignition. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Bergwald, visiting today with Robyn Bruggeman about the liturgies, the masses of Holy Week. And we're going to be talking now about what you guys do. So, Robyn, we got about 12 minutes or so left. So feel free to start. Like, you don't have to go in chronological. If you've got a favorite or something that you really want people to hear about, you can, I mean, if it's something on Good Friday or even the Vigil, you can jump around however you like. Don't feel like you have to walk through from the beginning to end.
Well, I do want to kind of expand on the Holy Thursday Mass and the stripping of the altar and then the cliffhanger that we're left on. And just encourage people, if you have not attended Holy Thursday Mass, to do that, because it really is, you start out and, you've been walking through Lent and, Lenti, like in this penance.
Yep.
And then you come to the Holy Thursday Mass and there's like this like joyfulness to it.
Right.
Which is such a life-giving feeling and time. But then we are walked through, the scriptural part of it. And then the stripping of the altar, if that's something that someone has not witnessed, that's a very powerful thing and a super powerful way to enter into the Triduum, because it's like you just take on what Christ, just that heavy of like, oh my goodness, we're entering into the garden and then into the crucifixion. So I just really encourage people to attend that or attend whatever your parishes are offering.
Right.
But there's ways to also then bring some of that into the home to bring it alive. And I would also encourage people, I think the greatest way we can do that is through the daily scripture reading. So when we attend Palm Sunday Mass, we kind of get the overview, like you had mentioned. So if a person doesn't go to Mass throughout the week or they're not doing the readings, I kind of got that whole overview. But then if we do the daily readings, it's kind of breaking it back down for us again, more bite-sized steps for us to process and just enter into that walk with Christ. So that is, I think, our favorite thing to do. First of all, is just to
do you do that as a family then?
Yep. So Spike and I always start the day with the daily Mass readings.
Okay.
Unless one or both of us
just
is at
the two
Mass.
Of you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So we do that just as a couple. And then when there are special feast days and holy days and like Holy Week, then we'll read them together as a family. So that way the family just is aware. And it just unites you to Christ. And I think, the redemption story is, we have to take it personal.
Right.
And that's why I think it matters. That's your question. Why do we do what we do? Why does it matter? I think it matters, especially this in Holy Week, because it's Christ's story, it's history, but it matters to us on a personal level.
Yep.
Like what Jesus did, he died for us, for each of us personally,
Died
which
for
is
me.
amazing.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
when you think of not just us as everyone, but take it personal. Think of it as just, oh my goodness, he loved me so much. He did that for me. So when we can walk that walk up through, through Holy Week and up to Easter, I just really feel like, it's just beautiful. It's just a beautiful way to unite yourself to Christ. So on Spy Wednesday, so we talk about, the ways we betray Jesus. We can read that scripture and think, oh, that was terrible.
Judas, what a jerk.
What a jerk. Yeah. And then, but we all do that.
Yep.
We all betray
Amen.
Jesus in one way or another. And so it's just that day to stop and reflect, and reminder of, going to confession is always a great thing during Holy Week too. And then we hide coins around the house. We hide silver pieces in their room, and they get a hunt for them. We've done that for years. The kids, they get excited, and then we encourage them to donate that then to the charity or into the change jar that we're donating. And then Holy Thursday is probably one of our favorites. And so I asked Spike and the kids before coming in today, what do you want me to share? And they said, you have
Holy
to do
Thursday.
our Holy Thursday meal.
Yeah.
So we have a Holy Thursday meal that we do, and I've done this for years.
Is this before church or after?
So we have done it before. We've done it after.
Okay.
After is, it's not a good idea.
It's late.
Because it's late. People are hungry and they're hangry. And sometimes we do that instead.
Okay.
Which,
Yep.
Anyway, so we get out the daily reading for that day. We read all through the Mass readings, we go through everything that's, part of the Mass. Mm-hmm. Read that together, and then we have different foods that are all connected to Scripture.
Okay.
So everything has a symbolism connected to, like maybe it's vinegar, almonds for tears. We have, bread, we have wine, we have grapes. So it's a feast, but everything has a connection back to Scripture. Okay. So that is probably one of the family's favorites.
Okay.
And then we celebrate. Holy Thursday is what separates us as Catholics, so especially because it's the first Eucharist.
Right.
And so it is something to really, really celebrate.
Right.
That we believe that is Christ's body and blood. So we just talk about that it's kind of like the anniversary of the first
Mass.
Eucharist, first Mass. And then we enter into Good Friday. And of course, that is just such a change. It's flipping gears, we're like going from something a little more joyful to back to, okay, we're totally just want to enter into this time with Christ. So we usually will attend a service, a Good Friday service, and then we do Stations of the Cross at home.
Okay.
And that's one of our favorites. That particular night of stations on Good Friday, we start with the 14 stations, 14 candles lit. And then we go through each station. We have some really pretty sacred art that we've obtained through the years. And then we sit down as a family with our booklets and prayers. And then, we hold up the picture that is for each station.
Okay.
And then after each station, we blow out a candle. So we start with the 14 candles. It's fairly bright. And it's getting darker and darker and darker. And it's just such a powerful way on Good Friday to just really feel like you're just, I don't want to say one with Christ, but you just really feel the pain of his death and what he went through for us. So that's really on our mind all of Good Friday, especially in the 3:00 hour. We make sure there's silence. We don't have screens. We don't have the radio on. We don't have the TV on. It's all focusing on the crucifixion. But then that night we do the stations, and we just love that. And so we end in darkness, and then we have tents or blankets set up all throughout our family room.
Good Friday night.
Good Friday night. And then the kids, Spike and I used to do this, but as we're getting older, it's a little bit harder to sleep on the floor. So we have all these tents, like a little village set up in our family room. And then the kids then sleep in their tombs, which are really tents, or maybe it's a blanket for it. And so they sleep in the tomb the same nights that Jesus does. And they sleep in there until Easter morning. So that's
till Easter morning.
Yeah.
So Friday night and Saturday night.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So our family room is probably a fire hazard because there's tents and blankets all over the place. But it's just a memorable thing. And actually, also on Good Friday, we watch the Passion of Christ that night. Then before bed, the tents are set up, and then we watch that together. And then we sleep in our tombs. And then let's see, Holy Saturday is an interesting day because you're like so close. And some people, I think, stop Lent, don't they? I mean, I know people that their Easter has started then.
Right.
And sometimes that's hard because some people, that's when their family celebrations are. That's how I grew up. And my family celebrates it. My Protestant family celebrates usually on Saturday. So it's kind of hard because you're like, the jelly beans are out and the chocolate's out. And I'm like, it's not quite Easter. So Holy Saturday this year, we are super excited because my future son-in-law is joining the church.
Oh, wow.
So we will go to the Easter Vigil. And I'm so excited because we've only gotten to do that a few times throughout the years with little. So we are so excited to just take in the richness of that. So we'll do that. And then Easter has its own celebrations. That's a whole nother. Then we start the next season.
Do you go to Easter Sunday when you?
We usually go to Easter Sunday.
And not the Vigil, typically.
Right.
Kids.
Yeah.
So we, I think you've heard, maybe you haven't heard this before. Ever since Jermaine and I met at Franciscan University of Steubenville, and I'm guessing many Catholic schools do the same thing, but there are students who come into the church on campus. So Easter Vigil at Franciscan University of Steubenville is a huge 4 hours. This is a while ago now, but it was a 4 hour. I mean, it was
because there's so many people joining.
Just all the Old Testament readings. You can do a lot of music. et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
So it's a long and beautiful liturgy. And then after that Mass, and I don't know if they still do this, but I'm guessing they do, they would have a quote unquote resurrection party. So in the Student Center, the Student Union, they'd have a big spread of, different sorts of sweets and snacks, meat and cheese and fruit and chocolate and that sort of thing.
So it's like at 2 a.m. then?
Almost.
Just about.
And people, and so Jermaine and I kind of incorporated the resurrection party into our own family.
Love
So we
that.
typically do go to the vigil, even when our kids were younger. We go to the vigil, and sometimes I spent it in the back of the church or out in the hallway.
Yeah.
But then we would go home and have snacks. Maybe
I love it.
pizza or chips or ice cream or candy or maybe a little bit of all of that. Who knows?
Yeah.
And stay up and watch a movie. And to be honest, this is just true confessions. They'd be religious movies for a while, but then it was just the idea of being together as a family watching a movie, which is hard to do when you got the spread of ages.
Yeah.
So a couple years ago, the movie that we watched after the Easter Vigil at our resurrection party was Cool Runnings, about the Jamaican bobsled team, starring
awesome.
John Candy, I think. Bill, is that who it is? I think John Candy. So it's not always a very, quote unquote
but like
religious,
you said, but it
a
is about
family
being
movie.
together with the
It's about being
family,
together.
and they know why you're celebrating.
Exactly.
You're celebrating Easter.
Exactly.
I love that. We may do that this
Yeah,
year since
yeah.
we won't.
It's a lot of fun.
Have to be up early for Mass.
Exactly.
If we
So
go
do
the
a-
night before.
do-
I
do a
love
big
that.
debate. Yep.
I'm going to steal that idea.
So what I love about all of that, and I hope people will steal all of your ideas or try them out.
Party, do whatever.
And again,
please.
going back to what you said, the whole idea here is to personalize the reality of what we are hearing about, and to be honest, what we're experiencing in the Mass. Because at the Mass, the theology of the Mass is these things that we're hearing about become mystically, mysteriously, but truly present in our midst. So throughout, every time we go to Mass, but particularly Holy Week, we should be mindful of the fact that whenever we go to Mass, what we're hearing about, especially in Holy Week, Jesus' death and resurrection, is present in our midst for us to participate in. So for these other ways that we can do outside of church to remember what's going on would be just great things to do. So Robyn, thanks for being here and sharing what you guys have done as a family over the years to try to make this powerful week more of your own.
Yeah, make it special. Make
Amen.
it different than every week.
That's right. So, folks, hopefully there's something there that will be for you to incorporate, try out, maybe just do a little thing, do a lot, whatever works for you. And that will wrap up this episode of Ignition. Again, we want to thank you for listening, and feel free to email us, ignition@sfcatholic.org, with any thoughts, questions, or ideas for future episodes. Until next time, may God bless you.